Welcome back. Today we're making a big beginner breakthrough in Spanish with something wonderfully useful. Regular AR verbs in the present tense. This is one of those patterns that gives you a lot of power very quickly. Once you get it, you can say things like hablo, I speak, trabajo, I work, estudio, I study, camino, I walk, and compro, I buy. Very practical, very everyday, very worth your time. Here's the big idea. In Spanish, many action words end in AR, like hablar, to speak, trabajar, to work, estudiar, to study, caminar, to walk, and comprar, to buy. To say who does the action right now, you keep the base and change the ending. Think of it like changing the hat on the same person. Same verb body, different little ending. For our core pattern, listen first. Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. That means I speak, you speak, he or she speaks, we speak, they speak. And the nice thing is that regular AR verbs follow the same music. Trabajo, trabajas, trabaja, trabajamos, trabajan. Estudio, estudias, estudia, estudiamos, estudian. Beautifully predictable. Spanish is being nice to us here. A quick memory trick. For regular AR verbs in the present, think o, as, a, amos, an. Say that with me. O, as, a, amos, an. That little rhythm will save you again and again. If you know the verb hablar, you can build hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. If you know comprar, you can build compro, compras, compra, compramos, compran. Let's start using it right away. How do you say I work a lot in Spanish? Trabajo mucho. Trabajo mucho. Good. Trabajo means I work. Mucho means a lot. Now notice something helpful. Trabajo is also the noun for work in some contexts, as in el trabajo, the job, or the work. But when you hear just trabajo as a sentence, it often means I work. Context does a lot of heavy lifting in Spanish. How do you say you study Spanish in Spanish? Estudias español. Estudias español. Nice. Estudias is you study, and español, of course, is Spanish. One tiny side note that helps a lot. In Spanish, days of the week in languages are not capitalized the way they are in English, so español usually has a lowercase e. Small detail, but a nice one to notice early. Let's build the pattern together with hablar. I speak is hablo. You speak is hablas. He or she speaks is habla. We speak is hablamos. They speak is hablan. See how the middle stays the same? Habla. Only the ending changes. That's your anchor. How do you say we walk in the park in Spanish? Caminamos en el parque. Caminamos en el parque. Great. Caminamos is we walk. En el parque means in the park. And here's a useful little connection. Caminamos can mean we walk, but depending on context, it can also mean we are walking. Beginners do not need to panic about that. If the situation is clear, Spanish is happy. Now let's do another. How do you say they buy coffee in Spanish? Compran café. Compran café. Excellent. Compran café. Short, useful, and very likely to improve your day. Let's make the pattern even stronger with quick mini examples. Hablo inglés. I speak English. Trabajas aquí. You work here. Estudia mucho. He or she studies a lot. Caminamos juntos. We walk together. Compran comida. They buy food. You may be noticing that English often uses subject words like I, you, we, they. But Spanish often leaves them out because the verb ending already tells you who it is. So hablo already tells us I speak. Estudiamos already tells us we study. That's actually great news. Fewer words to carry around. Now your brain also needs some practical combinations because real speech is not just one verb floating alone. Let's combine regular AR verbs with other common words. How do you say I speak Spanish? Hablo español. Hablo español. Perfect. How do you say you work here in Spanish? ¿Trabajas aquí? Trabajas aquí. Very good. Aquí means here. Notice the accent mark. It helps with pronunciation. Aquí. How do you say she studies a lot in Spanish? Estudia mucho. Estudia mucho. Excellent. And yes, this same form can also mean he studies a lot, depending on context. How do you say we buy food in Spanish? Compramos comida. Compramos comida. Nice. Comida means food, and it also can mean a meal in some situations. Now let's add a very useful structure from your lesson request. A conjugated verb plus an infinitive. In plain English, that means one changed verb followed by a basic verb. For example, quiero estudiar. I want to study. Necesito trabajar. I need to work. Prefiero caminar. I prefer to walk. The second verb stays in the basic dictionary form. This is a wonderful shortcut. Instead of learning 100 complicated sentence patterns, you can say things like quiero hablar, I want to speak, or necesito comprar, I need to buy. How do you say I want to study in Spanish? Quiero estudiar. Quiero estudiar. Exactly. Quiero is I want, and estudiar stays as estudiar, to study. How do you say we need to work in Spanish? Necesitamos trabajar. Necesitamos trabajar. Great. The first verb changes, necesitamos, and the second one stays calm and unchanged, trabajar. How do you say they want to walk in Spanish? Quieren caminar. Quieren caminar. Nicely done. Here's the memory trick. First verb wears the outfit, second verb stays in pajamas. Quiero estudiar. Necesitamos comprar. Prefieren hablar. Outfit, pajamas. Fancy, but memorable. Let's listen for patterns with our 5 main verbs. Hablar. Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. Trabajar. Trabajo, trabajas, trabaja, trabajamos, trabajan. Estudiar. Estudio, estudias, estudia, estudiamos, estudian. Caminar. Camino, caminas, camina, caminamos, caminan. Comprar. Compro, compras, compra, compramos, compran. If you feel like these are blending together, that is actually okay. Your job at A1 is not to memorize every table perfectly all at once. Your job is to hear the pattern and use it in simple, real sentences. Now let's try a few more naturally. How do you say I buy bread in Spanish? Compro pan. Compro pan. Good. Pan is bread. How do you say we speak a little in Spanish? Hablamos un poco. Hablamos un poco. Nice. Un poco means a little. How do you say they study at home in Spanish? Estudian en casa. Estudian en casa. Excellent. En casa is at home. No article there in this common phrase. Before our story, let's clear up a few common mistakes so you can avoid them early. Mistake number 1, forgetting to remove the AR before adding the new ending. So not hablado, it's hablo. Not estudiarás, for you study, it's estudias. Cut off the AR, then add the ending. Mistake number 2, mixing up hablo and habla. Hablo is I speak. Habla is he or she speaks. That final O is your little flag for I. Mistake number 3, changing both verbs in a two-verb structure. For example, I want to study, it's quiero estudiar, not quiero estudio. Only the first verb changes there. Mistake number 4, using English word order too rigidly. Spanish is flexible, but as a beginner, keep it simple. Verb plus extra information. Trabajo aquí. Estudias mucho. Compramos café. Now for a short story. First, just listen to the whole thing in Spanish. Trabajo en una tienda pequeña. Cada mañana hablo con muchos clientes. También estudio español en casa. Después del trabajo, camino al parque con una amiga. A veces compramos café y hablamos un poco más. Me gusta esta rutina porque aprendo y descanso. Now let's go line by line. Trabajo en una tienda pequeña. I work in a small shop. Cada mañana hablo con muchos clientes. Every morning I speak with many customers. También estudio español en casa. I also study Spanish at home. Después del trabajo, camino al parque con una amiga. After work, I walk to the park with a friend. A veces compramos café y hablamos un poco más. Sometimes we buy coffee and talk a little more. Me gusta esta rutina porque aprendo y descanso. I like this routine because I learn and rest. One quick useful detour there. Me gusta means I like. Literally something like it pleases me. For now, just learn it as a chunk. Me gusta, I like. Very common, very useful. Let's do a final little flow of Spanish. Hablas español. Trabajamos aquí. Estudian mucho. Camino al centro. Compran comida. Quiero hablar. Necesitamos trabajar. Quieren comprar café. Hear how often these patterns come back? That repetition is your friend. And one last couple of prompts before we wrap up. How do you say, I walk a lot in Spanish? Camino mucho. Camino mucho. How do you say, we want to buy coffee in Spanish? Queremos comprar café. Queremos comprar café. Beautiful work. Today's main idea is simple and powerful. With regular AR verbs in the present, you can use the pattern o, as, a, amos, an. Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. The same pattern works for trabajar, estudiar, caminar, and comprar. And with two verb combinations, only the first verb changes. Quiero estudiar, necesitamos trabajar. If you remember just a few things, remember these. Cut off R, add the ending, and trust the pattern. Use short, real sentences. Say them out loud. Hablo, trabajas, estudiamos, compran. Little by little, this starts to feel natural. You're not just learning grammar, you're building speech. Real speech, the kind you can actually use. So keep going, keep repeating. And if your brain feels slightly full right now, that's okay. That means it got a workout. And unlike a gym workout, this one lets you sit down with coffee afterward. Or better yet, compras café. See? You already know more Spanish than you did 10 minutes ago.